You know, I need to. It's okay, it's on VR. Yeah, 32.96. I don't know because I was thinking something, but it's the last thing.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we get no luck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam Heath Avitable.
This is the DKS podcast, a podcast about love, sex, culture, and society. This week, we'll be talking about the tragic, funny, and horrible dating stories people have shared online. Enjoy the show.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, now is the time to hit all the buttons and do all the things and get all the notifications for all of our episodes that we post on here, plus our shorts, which are very controversial, and you will enjoy them or you won't, but either way, you'll give us views.
The end. I've missed you so much.
I know we haven't. It feels like it's been a while, but it hasn't been that long since we recorded. But it really has felt a long time, I think.
We've been off our schedule, traveling for me, anyways, and just settling back in. Yeah,
trying to settle back in and trying to figure out, get back into a routine, which is then going to be impossible because I'm going to hit the road soon, and then who knows what our routine is going to be then.
It's so much harder because you have a full-time job now too, where before you were just kind of odd job in it, where now you have, I need to hit these hours and do these assignments.
I need to get my shit done. Yeah, I know that is unfortunate. It's funny. I had somebody contact me through Instagram today and say that she really wants to do a photo shoot with me before I leave Utah. And so she was like, can we do like Wednesday? And I was like, I'm like, I usually try to work during the day, but I was like, you know what? Sure. Come over on Wednesday. I'll just push my work. I'll work late Tuesday night. I'll work Thursday morning, like I'll get it done. I can still work whatever hours I want. I was like, but it all in the interest of still being able to do whatever the fuck I want when I want. That's very important to me. So I'm not going to let the job get in the way of that. Not at this point. And so I'm going to be leaving Utah very soon. And by the time this episode comes out, it'll be less than a month. I'll be leaving on June 3rd.
Are you excited? Ready? What's going on?
I'm ready to get out of Utah. I'm ready to, I still haven't figured out the rest of my trip. If you are you're going to have to really pay attention to my probably Instagram, or if you're on my Facebook or TikTok, one of those, I will be posting whenever I'm going to be in different locations. But right now, I'm going to be going up to the Pacific Northwest. I'll be going to Portland.
To see me.
That's right. Of course. I'll be going up to I'll be going to Bend, and then Portland and Seattle. And then right now it looks like I'm going to go to Coeur d'Alene, and then a couple other spots, probably Denver area, and then slowly head down, maybe stop in Tulsa or Oklahoma City, and then go to Memphis, where I have a good friend that I'm going to visit for a bit. And then I'm going to head back north again, up towards Michigan, visit some people in the greater Detroit area, and stay there for a bit, and then head over to the East Coast and Maryland for a bit, and then slowly come down the East Coast, stop in Virginia, stop in the Carolinas, and then eventually make it down to Florida in the late fall. So,
as someone who hasn't done a lot in a while, I'm worried for you.
Oh God, I know it seems so overwhelming right now. Like I'm excited to get out, and I'm excited to go see people and see some new places that I haven't been to. But I'm also like, oh, this is going to be a lot. I'm so used to being a lazy fuck with just things being easy right now. Not easy. It's still been a hell of a year otherwise. But it'll be an adventure. But my subconscious is already telling me that it's going to be hard because last night I had a dream that my very first hotel that I stopped at, I woke up the next morning and my car had been stolen. So
off to a great start.
I know. So we'll see. And then, but then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, with the insurance money that I would get, I'd be able to buy a new car. So I guess that, wouldn't be the end of everything.
I
And
don't think your car is going to get broken into. I think you'll be fine.
Oh, I think I will be too. But my subconscious apparently is also just as worried about me being able to function with this new kind of traveling schedule. Luckily, with most places, I'm staying at least a week, and a few places much longer. So I'll have a few short stays with a day or two, in different cities as I'm trying to get to my other main destinations. But
I think you've learned your lesson because when you were doing really short stints, you were really exhausted. So
yeah, when I was like, oh, 2 nights here and then 2 nights there and 2 nights in the next place, it really was just draining, and I didn't really get to do anything because by the time I checked in and everything, I was just exhausted and didn't want to do anything. So it was damn near useless. So now I'm like, let me just spend a week here. Like even if I don't know anybody, let me just spend a week there and I can just chill and get some. I'll work and then I'll whatever. We'll try to record episodes whenever I'm somewhere quiet enough to do so. Yeah.
as long as you don't stay at a creepy Airbnb where the woman can come in. I remember there being some place in like Montana where there was just a sheet or something, and
there was one. Yeah, it was in South Dakota, I think, and it was a woman's house, which was great. Like, but you walk in the front door, and as soon as you walk in the front door, if you go left down the stairs into the basement, she had it all in this very nice little like basement apartment with a living room and a little kitchenette and a laundry room and a full bathroom and a bedroom. Very nice, except there was no door except to your bedroom. But like everything else was just like it was a sheet basically between when you walked in the door and turned left down the basement. And I was like, even for me, like I was like, I don't care, but like, lady, what are you thinking? That's not safe. Like that's not safe for you. Like, wouldn't you want a door that you can lock and that you locks you off from the rest of the house? Like it's interesting.
So, well, pick good spots.
Well, I do know one of my places is similar to that in the fact that it's in their house, but it's a locked, like you can get it. You have to walk in through their main door, but then it's a little locked entry to get into the place. So that's not too bad. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see which ones I complain about as we do episodes. We'll like, what is Adam going to bitch about now?
I hate being on the road.
Yeah, that might be it. I mean, I
take me back to Utah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that'll be what I'll say. But yeah, it'll be it'll be nice because I am gonna try to figure out where I want to settle. And so since I've never been to Washington or Oregon, this will give me the chance to spend some time there. And then there's a few other places that I really want to check out. And then I'll kind of chill in Florida for a little bit and make a decision maybe about settling. So by this time next year, I should probably be, actually having a home somewhere.
A somewhat normal, not on the road life.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. For you.
I might decide, fuck it, and just like go to Europe and just start traveling around Europe doing the same thing. You never know.
I wish you would do that, honestly.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be so fun.
Okay, but what's stopping you from doing that now?
Well, first of all, I have to renew my passport.
Oh, you got to fix that immediately.
I still haven't done that.
You doing?
I've had the application with me and filled out since I left my house originally, and I have not done it because I stopped at one place and got a photo, so I got the photo. And then I was like, oh, I gotta, and I think now I actually have to reprint because the application's probably 2 years old now. So I probably have to redo it. It's probably changed.
2 years old? Holy shit.
Yeah.
From when you left Florida. Oh my God. That's on you. I
It's
don't even
totally
feel bad.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Don't feel bad. But get it done.
I'd like to get it done. But yeah, that and money. Yeah, I think I'd have to have more income coming in to really feel comfortable going to Europe and doing that because I'd want to do it in more of a, my high maintenance way. Not in not in the I don't know, staying in hostels and shit like that because
I've never stayed in a hostel.
Yeah, well, I know, but your budget has been okay as far as traveling, and I think if I could probably do that too. But I mean,
I've stayed at shit places, but they weren't hostels, and I just don't like sharing a full bedroom with other people in bunk bed styles. Just not.
No, fuck
not
that.
For me.
No, absolutely not. No. I want my own bedroom, my own bathroom. Very important. So I don't know. We'll see. But Europe would be fun because I know I have a lot of people that I know throughout Europe that I could visit, and that would be fantastic. So maybe at some point. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then of course, speaking of being in Seattle, since I am going to be up there, I'm going to be up there for at least a week or two. Sarah and I decided to do a little thing.
Well, yeah, we're actually finally having a listener meetup. The last one we had was in 2019 in Orlando, Florida. And then the pandemic happened and went on the
Sarah,
road.
that's when Sarah hooked up with a guy in his car, and then got so drunk
Oh my
that she puked in the what is it called?
Honey Baked
Honey
Ham
Baked Ham
parking
parking
lot.
lot.
Yep.
Yeah, which
Can never let
I
that
still have
go.
photos, of course not.
Can never let it go. Yeah. So that won't be happening at this. This will be a classier
It
occasion.
will be
I'm
classier.
going to make it a classier occasion, you know. But it will be at the Graduate Seattle, which is a hotel. And it's going to be on Thursday, June 29th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're still working on some details, but we'll have cocktails, merch to give away, and then we'll be recording. Well, and we'll be having a live show.
Yeah, we're gonna record a show for the podcast, but do it, everybody gets to be there live. So yes, we're gonna be doing this thing Thursday, June 29th, like she said, the Graduate in Seattle, and the graduates kind of excited about us being there. We're excited about doing an event there, and so we really want this to be successful. So right now, we're telling you right now the time and dates. So
Mark
if
it
you
down.
live, that's right. If you live in the Seattle area, if you live in Vancouver, even if you live in Portland, I want you to come. I want you
We're
to
also
show.
working on discounted rates for hotels as well. Nothing is locked down yet, but we're trying,
Yeah,
it's a Thursday. We understand some people could be traveling here, so we want to make it worth your while if you do come out. So just keep that in mind.
absolutely. Yeah, we're going to come up with more details as it comes. We'll be posting that both in our Facebook group and on Instagram and with future episodes. And of course, you can also email us. But if you are interested in coming, and right now you're like, oh, I want to know all the details as they come and I don't want to miss them, you can email us at datingkindofsuckspodcast@gmail.com or send us a DM on one of our Instagrams, either Dating Kinda Sucks Instagram or one of our private ones, and we'll add you to a list so that we'll make sure we keep in touch with you as we plan all of the details.
Yep.
But we really want this to be a success. So, however many of you there are in the Pacific Northwest, I hope to see you all there on June 29th.
Every single one of you.
Every
Yes.
single one of you, whether that's 15 people or 115 people, I want you all there.
And if you're looking for an excuse to come out to Seattle to enjoy the nice summer weather in the Pacific Northwest, use this and come out and see us too. It'd be nice to see people. It's just been, the two of us for so long. I mean, it's always just been the two of us, but we haven't seen listeners. And
doing a live show is always fun because we just set
Yeah.
up, very casually, usually in a bar setting, although we haven't figured out the details of this yet. And but we just usually set up and we just talk for a little bit, and then we take questions for people and we kind of talk, answer your questions, and it's usually a fun little event, and then we throw it up on the podcast for people who decided not to make it. So don't have FOMO. You don't want to have FOMO and miss out on this, because it'll be a great event, and if it works out well, we'll do more of these in the future as well.
Yeah, wherever I end up landing, I guess.
Sarah,
Yeah.
Sarah end up flying out there for a weekend. Yeah.
I mean, if it works out, it works out. We'll see.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm excited.
So what else is going on in your life?
Well, I'm home from my trip, so that's been depressing a little bit.
Yeah, but I feel like you were kind of ready to leave Chile. Like, you had a good time, but you were like, it was just long enough that you were like, I'm ready to be home.
It's always the last couple of days that I'm just sitting there going, I wish my flight was today. I wish it was today. And I think, I don't know. I got my fill. The city that I stayed in, that I was in for a month, it wasn't big enough for me personally. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like I still had all these other things to do. So the last couple of days I was like, yep, saw everything, did the things, ready to go. Okay, bye. And then of course the really long flight home. But
yeah,
survived that. And
what was that flight? You had some drama with that too, right?
I mean, flying into Santiago from Seattle, I had to fly into Dallas, and I missed my flight because of a storm or tornado or whatever. So I had to stay the night in Dallas and then fly out the next day. And then when I flew into Dallas, like leaving, I had a connecting flight like 23 hours later, and I kept trying to change it. And they're like, no, you can't change it, or you can pay all this extra money or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Instead of paying the extra money, I'll just get a hotel room, and then I'll just chill in Dallas for a night and then leave.
Smart choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, after that long flight, I'll just like shower, chill in Dallas for Sunday, and then fly back Monday morning. Well, the hotel that I booked, I hate Dallas. I just don't like Dallas after all this shit. The hotel that I booked, it said online, and the reviews said that they had an airport shuttle. So call once you land and they'll pick you up. And it was right next to the airport. So I call, and it's just ringing for 30 minutes, just straight ringing. So I hang up, call again, hang up, call again. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Finally, this poor woman answers and she's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah. One, why is your phone ringing off the hook? And two, I would like to get picked up by the airport shuttle to check into my hotel. And she goes, well, this hotel's not actually open until Tuesday. It's Sunday, by the way. We're not open until Tuesday. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, don't you operate 24 hours? She goes, no, like we haven't had our grand opening yet. We open on Tuesday. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? How are there online reviews talking about your shit? And then how was I able to book? Like,
right. How do you book a room on a hotel that doesn't exist until 2 days later?
I don't know. She's like, well, that was a mistake on our end. I'm like, you fucking think? I was like, okay. So then I'm sitting there at the airport going, do I book another hotel room or do I just use my points and just fly home? And I was like, you know what? I want to go home. So I just used my points and flew home. But it was just so stupid.
That is insane. That is
yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous. And I'm like, only Sarah could somehow plan ahead well enough that you book a hotel room and then somehow still have it be like a non-existent hotel room that doesn't even exist. I don't even know how, like, that's fantastic.
Google reviews were accurate. They had a decent amount of Google reviews. Then where I booked, there were a bunch of reviews. I did book third party because I got points and benefits from it, but I'm like,
right.
I trust my Capital One booking portal for stuff, and you had Google reviews and your website was up and that had reviews too. So I'm very confused.
You did everything right. Wrong. You did everything right. Like, you really did, and it still managed to fuck up. That's just
so stupid. So I ended up getting home and I was like, I need a couple weeks to detox from all the travel that I've done, and I think now I'm just sitting here going, well, my next trip is at the end of this month, so I'm ready. I'm already ready for the next thing.
Where are you going the end of this month?
I'm going on an Alaskan cruise that's leaving from Seattle.
I feel like that's going to be an entertaining story from you afterwards to hear about.
Why? Because I'm going with my mom.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but yes.
That's
what I was thinking. Yes. But also just you on a cruise ship too. Like, I feel like I could see you getting very annoyed.
I've been on cruises before.
How long ago was it the last time you took a cruise?
I was in college.
Yeah. It's a little bit different. Sarah now is a little bit different than Sarah in college.
I mean, yes, college me versus me now, very different. But Alaskan cruises are way more chill than Caribbean cruises from everything I've read. Most people, we got a balcony room, or so we can just chill and watch. I'm buying binoculars. I'm doing it up like I'm an 80-year-old woman on her final vacation type of thing.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna bring all this extra shit. So plus I want to make it really enjoyable for my mom, since she's like, this is like her big trip that she's really looking forward to. So
I hope it goes well. I mean,
for the sake of the podcast, I hope it goes well.
I hope it doesn't, but for the sake of the stories in the podcast, for the sake of you, I hope it goes well.
It will.
Good.
Let's be positive and not have. I don't want to have nightmares like you. Actually, I won't have nightmares because I'm not worried. I'm cool, calm, and collected.
That's right. Well, great. One last thing, and this is just a reminder to everybody that I'd like you to tune in all the way through the full episode, because I have a friend of mine who's a Salt Lake City artist. She's a musician. Her name is Josaleigh Pollett, and she has been a musician for many years. She puts out her stuff all independent. And she had a song come out recently that I just can't stop listening to. I've had it on repeat and I fucking love it. And I asked her if I could be the podcast premiere for her song, even though it's on Spotify now. So like, she had a premiere of it, but like, I'm like, can I be the first person to put it on a podcast? And she was thrilled with it. So it's called The Nothing Answered Back. And what we're going to be doing is instead of the Dating Kind of Sucks theme song at the end of the episode, we're just going to play that. So you just you can stay and listen for the entire episode and hear something brand new that you've never heard before. And you can follow Josaleigh at Linktree/Brosaligh, BROSALEIGH, or on Twitter, same thing, at Brosaligh. We'll have the links to all of our stuff in the show notes, so you can find that out. But just a little extra feature. Just I wanted to really showcase it because I really love this song, and I feel like this song deserves to be heard by a lot of people, and so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try it out and see if people what they think. So let us know too what you think of the song after you hear it.
It's actually our new theme song. Don't let Adam confuse you.
So what we've got now is we have a call from our DKS hotline. Now, our hotline is, you can call it. We want you to call it. In fact, if you're listening right now, before you listen to the rest of the episode, you can pause it and call the hotline and leave us a question. It's something about, dating, relationships, sex, culture, anything. And we're slowly going through them and playing them on air and answering the questions. And the phone number is 407-519-0181. So we'd love to hear your questions.
I think you should be more aggressive with it like the last time, because then we got a lot of calls. They're like, I did what you told me. Okay. I called your stupid number. No one said that, but I called. I called. I'm here.
Yes. Please call it now. Just go ahead and pause and call 407-519-0181 and leave us a voicemail with something.
Anything. Yes. Anything. Your problems, your friendship problems, your life problems, your anything. What you're thinking about today. Super random shit. We don't care.
Exactly. Just
we'll talk about it.
Interesting to talk about, and we'd love to put you on the air. It helps us with good content, but also we like to it's, we always look for good topics, but sometimes it's really nice to be able to actually answer questions from people who listen, because here we are, like you listen to the podcast and we get to kind of give back by answering these things. So it is really nice for us to be able to get these. So, and
it helps other listeners too. They might be having a similar problem that you're having and want other people to relate to.
Absolutely. Exactly. So
we're also just sick of talking to one another. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm over this now.
We're like, let's just listen to somebody else for a little bit.
Please.
And with that, let's go ahead and take this question from Kate.
Hi, Adam and Sarah. My name is Kate, and I just listened to your most recent episode, so I thought I would call in as requested. I have two questions I thought that I would leave here on your voicemail. So first, have you heard of the 36 questions to fall in love? If you haven't heard of them, you should be able to Google it and get more information. If you have heard of them, have you tried it with any of your partners? I did them in the beginning of my last relationship, which obviously still ended, but I did feel like we had a deeper emotional connection than I've experienced before, so I was just wondering if you guys had any experience with it. The second one's a little more personal. So I am sapiosexual and find it very difficult to feel sexual attraction towards someone unless they are first and foremost intelligent. In addition, we also must form an emotional bond, and obviously this doesn't sound like a bad thing, but there are times when I would prefer to have a friends with benefits situation or even enjoy a one-night stand, but I have been unable to reach orgasm in those situations when I've tried. So for context, I am not, nor have I ever been religious. I don't have any deep-seated beliefs around sex that might cause that problem, and it's become a bigger and bigger issue the older I've gotten. I'm 43 now. Maybe I just can't deal with the bullshit anymore. I don't know. But as a side note, I have been with two different men in particular in that type of situation who were amazing lovers, and yeah, I still couldn't orgasm. So just wondering if I am doomed to only have sex, like satisfying sex, if and when I'm with someone I connect with on a deeper level. So anyway, thanks for helping to spread awareness about appropriate dating behavior. I think most men are not catching on yet, but maybe once women demand more, they'll have to. I don't know. So anyway, thanks, guys.
I don't know about you, but I've really never looked into the 36 questions to fall in love. Hasn't really been my vibe. It's not that I think it's wrong. I just think in other relationships, it's weird to bring up. If I had like a list of questions to ask, to turn to my partner and go, let's sit down and go over these questions, versus just slowly communicating over a long period of time and just addressing some questions or things around some of those questions. I did take a look though. I don't think the list is bad. Me personally, I don't use that. I haven't used anything like that, but I think if you need help fostering some communication skills or like encouraging more communication in your relationship, I think it's a good starting point if you're at that level. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Like, the questions I think they're great icebreaker questions. Like, something, if you're just getting to know somebody, ask one or two of them maybe. But I feel like then it starts to become kind of like an interrogation or like a weird Vanity Fair interview. If you're asking them like, oh, if you were a tiger, what kind of tiger would you be? And which continent would you live on? And tell me why. It's like a lot
Are you getting anything out of that?
You're right. and so I understand the concept behind asking the questions, because some of them are deeper. Some of them just kind of show someone's creativity. They show someone's, so they do demonstrate different aspects of people's personality. But I think when you actually have a good connection with somebody, when you have a natural connection with somebody already, you don't need to ask those types of questions because you're already kind of talking about things like that are similar enough that that you're already seeing the personality things that would show the aspects that would show up by asking those 36 questions. And so you're telling stories to each other, you're sharing things, and in doing so you're drawing out the same stuff that the 36 questions do. And I feel like if you kind of have to use the 36 questions, then that person's not worth talking to.
I agree with that. If that's your crutch, then maybe you're not communicating well. And
right.
I don't know
you just
how
don't
much
have
this
that
is
click.
going to help.
Yeah. Maybe you don't have that chemistry and compatibility because it's not a natural flow. And it should feel like a natural flow. Maybe not in the very beginning, obviously, not on a first date, but like by the end of the first date, you should feel some type of natural, flow with somebody. Like it really should. And if it still feels awkward enough that you're like, oh, I should start asking these questions, then I would say that's a sign just to not go on a second date.
Yeah. But I don't think they're the worst thing to use, but maybe,
Yeah.
Like evaluate where you're at.
Pick one or two and ask it, ask on a dating app. That could be kind of an interesting question to ask on a dating app, a couple of those, and so and that might be a good way to start, but just don't rely on them.
Yeah. And then as far as
what about her second part?
Yeah. So as far as attraction levels go, I think it's important to have deeper, and I've been in the same boat of like one night stands and friends with benefits never really worked for me. And I think having deeper connection helps feel more connected and reach a level of orgasm or whatever. But it also ties back to the type of people that you're sleeping with. If you're sleeping with, you could have a one night stand. If they care about your experience in bed, you'll probably come. If you're friends with benefits, if you communicate like, hey, this is what gets me off, whatever, then you should be okay. I don't think you're doomed. I just think more communication in the bedroom, if you're still wanting to do one night stand, friends with benefits scenarios, that's totally fine. But make sure you're communicating and working on getting what you need out of it. Because some people are shitty and only care about themselves in the bedroom.
Right. And I think when you come to one night stands, that's actually a big thing because I think a lot of men don't need an emotional connection to get their dick wet. And a lot of them are going to think to themselves, hey, while I'm getting my dick wet, why do I really care about anything else? This is a one night stand. Why would I put any effort into the other person? And so there's studies that have shown that only 11% of women have an orgasm in a one night stand. So you're not alone in wanting something like that or needing an emotional connection. I think a lot of women would prefer to have an actual emotional connection of some type, to have some type of genuine chemistry before they decide to go in. And being sapiosexual and wanting someone who's intelligent, I think is also a good thing. So I think that, maybe if you aren't finding that in your dating life, but you still kind of want some type of physical intimacy, then maybe try to look beyond the orgasm and try to just have fun in bed with someone. And then bring a toy to help get you to the finish line. And that might be the way to kind of compromise with it, or find a friend with benefit that's an actual, like a genuine, deep, like friend, like an actual real friend that you ever, and that sometimes can have an emotional connection for you. But also I would say maybe just try women, because then you feel like you'll both be on the same page and things might be better that way.
Agreed. Yeah. These are good questions though. Yeah.
Very good questions, Kate. Thank you for calling and asking. And once again, you can go ahead and pause the episode now and call 407-519-0181 and leave a voicemail with your question.
And with that, I guess we'll take a little break and then we'll get back to what to see with Sarah G as I talk about Chile.
All right.
Seeing how I just got back from this month-long trip to Chile, I want to hit on, and it's still fresh in my mind, so relevant, I can talk more about it. I want to hit on some must-see places to visit in the country, and some of these places will be places I actually visited, and others are still on my list. I think there are a couple places I didn't get to visit that if I went back to Chile, I would definitely do. So let's start with where my home base was for the 30 days I was in Chile, which was Valparaiso. And this city is located on the coast of Chile. It's about an hour and a half drive from Santiago. And since most international flights land in Santiago, your easiest means of transportation to get there is to take a bus. So if you're doing that option, I highly recommend Tour Bus for all of the bus services there. There are a handful of other ones. They're not as clean. They're similarly on time or slightly cheaper, but this one was great. I took this bus multiple times going back and forth. I did a day trip to Santiago, good bus service.
Do they not have
But
Uber?
I mean, yes, you can Uber, but it's going to be a lot more expensive than just taking the bus. So for the bus was $8 one way.
Oh, okay, but then you have to
versus like a $30 Uber. It was a nice. It's not. It. I don't know. It didn't feel like a Greyhound or anything like that. It was a nice bus, and I sat in the front, and the views were good. And I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know if Uber service existed or not. I was curious.
Yeah. Ubers are available in the country. But I think one of the shocks for me just visiting was how much more expensive it was than other countries in South America. So Ubers weren't the cheapest, and it's just that means of transportation wasn't as cheap as other things available, pretty much. But yeah, let's talk about Valparaiso, or Valpo as the locals call it. It is a quirky city filled with many murals and colorful buildings, and is actually the second largest city in Chile following Santiago. And there's a lot of history and architecture to admire when you're there. And on any given day, you'll find artists painting walls or updating artwork around the town, which I also think is really cool. Like, I don't know, they're just filling all the walls with different art and different murals and paintings. So I love that. As far as things to do in Valpo, definitely go on a free walking tour. And just my advice for any place that you're visiting, start your first day or so and do the free walking tour to get a good lay of the land. And you'll get some history about the city as well. After you're finished with that walking tour, you have to ride. There are these things called funiculars. They're basically like cable cars that go up and down to connect the city, because it's really hilly and really divided depending on what side of the city you're in. So to connect you easier, because nothing sucks more than being all the way down at the bottom of the hill and knowing that you have to go back up, jump on one of the 17 funiculars, and it's just, a pulley car, and it's really cheap. It's probably the equivalent of like 40 cents to go up to go one way. So why not do it? It's short, but it's a nice thing to do. And they're all over the city. So check that out. And then as far as artwork to admire as you're roaming the streets, don't miss out on seeing Beethoven's staircase. It's a set of staircase that look like piano keys. And I did a whole video of just like walking through Valpo that I posted on my Instagram stories. And that was one of the places that I walked through. And I don't know, the area where we stayed, I think it's called Cerro Alagar. I'm going to butcher that. Definitely butchered that. But that was the neighborhood that we stayed in the entire time. And it was just very artsy, felt safer than some of the other areas in Valpo. Now, as far as places to eat, unfortunately, so many people have asked me, how was the food in Chile? How was the food? How was the food? I did not have the best experience with food options in the country. And funny enough, that was the same for like everyone in my group. We were all struggling, whether it was ordering something.
Why not? So yeah, what was the different from going to all these other places where you were able to find stuff?
There just wasn't flavor. There just wasn't a lot of flavor. Even the salt, we had ordered just regular table salt we got it from the grocery store, and the salt didn't even taste that salty. It was very weird. I don't know. The spices were just not as, like a country like Chile, like Chile,
right, Chile, right.
Yeah, we were joking about that. And then we found a Vice article or something that said basically like the country doesn't have good food, and all the locals were saying, oh, that's not true. You just didn't eat at good places. But I don't know. I had some really good meals, and then the rest were just kind of mid. I was like, that was okay. It was food, whatever. But there are good places to eat there. It's just far and few between, in my opinion. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but that was just my opinion. And the places that I thought were amazing weren't typical restaurants that you would think, oh, this is Chilean food. Like two of the places I really liked, one was called Valpo Ramen, and the other place is called Casa Dumplings. So I really enjoyed Valpo Ramen. It was super flavorful. The owner was great. I had one of the best meals I had in Valparaiso by far was there. And then the other place, Casa Dumplings, it was off the beaten path. The dumplings were amazing. The dessert was great. The curry was great. Everything was fantastic. I was like, okay, so what about other food? And empanadas were okay. And I don't know, just that was my experience. They also did have a lot of solid pizza places and Italian places, which I found interesting. I did not expect that as well. And pizza was solid everywhere you went. So like the pizza was not bad by any means, but I just did not expect there to be so many pizza places either.
That's interesting. Was there any sea bass? Did you try sea bass? Because I mean, isn't Chilean sea bass like a thing?
I didn't have seafood. I did have a couple fish dishes, but that was in
but I feel like seafood
Santiago.
places here, like in the US, like they're like Chilean sea bass is like it is something that people will serve, and it's like an actual
I didn't
type
see
of
that.
fish. And I just wonder if it doesn't exist in Chile, which would be
It
interesting.
wasn't plastered everywhere that I mean, I had a good pisco sour. I had nice food here and there, but I'm saying overall it wasn't.
Interesting.
I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't. I don't know, versus like visiting Colombia or Mexico or some other countries where I felt like there was just like food thrown in your face, just like try this Colombian, whatever. It wasn't like
Right.
Chilean this, Chilean that. I didn't really get that vibe, but that was just me. Um, enough about the food. Enough about the food. If you're looking, I know I didn't mention where I stayed. It was actually a hostel. It's called Faro Hostel. Higher up in the city, but we all had our individual rooms, and part of the group I was with, we stayed there. It's a nice accommodation. But there are other hotels closer if you're looking for that probably would be better, just for your means of travel. But as far as other things to do outside of Valpo, there's a lot. There's Viña del Mar, which is only about a 20 to 30 minute Uber ride along the coast, and there's shopping and beaches that you can go to there. I went surfing in Concon, which is a little bit further from Viña del Mar, and you can also go sandboarding as well. There are these huge dunes. The only thing that sucks is you have to climb up them to go down,
right.
which is why I did not do that. But and you could do stargazing from there too, which is something that our group did. But that was fun. And then like while surfing in Concon, you can actually see where all the penguins are hanging out, because Chile has a lot of penguins. Like in a lot of the world's population of penguins live in Chile. I found that out after the fact, but there's big rocks where all the penguins are hanging out that you can see at Concon. And then another option that you can do if you're staying in Valpo is like your home base. There's the Casablanca wine region, and you can just take a bus or an Uber to there and just hop around. And you'll notice as you take the bus in from Santiago, it's kind of, for me, it felt like California vibes. I'm like, this feels arid and whatever. And the wineries show up. I'm like, yeah, it has a similar vibe, just like to California. But all the wineries are great out there. And then if you're looking for other adventures in that area, obviously go back to Santiago, do a day or two there, check out the world's tallest building in South America, and do a walking tour to get more history of the city. If you're saying, okay, I want to get out of the middle of Chile and explore other places, something I wish I would have done, but it was just so hard to get to because you have to get into Santiago and then fly out to the northern part of the country, is the Atacama Desert. I didn't go. So many people in my group went and said it was like a once in a lifetime experience. The Atacama Desert is the driest desert on the planet and has some of the best stargazing in the world. Just make sure you go there when it's a new moon, so the moon doesn't kind of dim your other stargazing abilities. There's also hot springs and salt pools and salt flats to visit. And like in the salt pools, you'll literally just float. You can't go under because there's so much salt content, which is really cool. There's also other things closer to Santiago that I did, like the Yaso Dam or Termas de Valle Colina, which has hiking and hot springs for soaking if you want to do something like that. And then, of course, when people think Chile, they obviously think Patagonia if they're big nature lovers or into hiking. So you can definitely visit Torres del Paine National Park or hike the mini trails that are in southern Chile. But yeah, those are some things to do. Before I close out this section, though, fun fact. So when I was there, I experienced 2 earthquakes, and the country is pretty numb to earthquakes, actually. I experienced a 4.5 and a 5.7 while I was there. And
Wow.
the 4.5 was the second one I experienced, and I woke up with, oh, it's an earthquake. Okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep, just like not thinking anything of it.
Right.
And then there were like tsunami warnings going off because they were happening in the Pacific, and people don't care unless they're a 7.0 because insurance doesn't cover it, any damage unless it's a 7.
Oh wow,
so they're like
crazy.
the ground shaking. Yeah, we don't care unless it's a 7.
I had no idea that Patagonia was an actual place, by the way. I just thought that was a company that made clothing.
Well, the more you know. The more you know.
With the penguins, by the way, I have a question. So there's a lot of, so it's a major source for penguins. Are there a lot of sharks there?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, shit. I'm glad I don't know the answer
I'm
to
saying,
that
yeah,
now
because
because
you
I
went
surfed
surfing
and
there.
was just
But
chilling.
I feel like if you're gonna have a lot of penguins, then you're gonna have a lot of food there. You're gonna have
What's the
the
predator?
predators are gonna be probably circling around that area too. But I just wondered about that. So you don't know.
I mean, I wasn't.
We're gonna
It's not
remain
like
ignorant on that, right?
it's not like I was swimming with the penguins. They were pretty far off, and I could see the rocks and where they're at in a far distance. The place that I surfed, it was kind of in a not a cave, whatever, a crest. That's the word, a crest coastline. So we were tucked in there a little bit, and then the penguins are further
Like
out
a
outside of
cove.
that cove,
Is that where it
crest.
goes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Crest?
Crest Cove.
Anyway.
I'm not a marine biology. I'm nothing with biology or
Right.
geography for me. So tapping out on that one. But
Well, that is interesting though. But anyways, that sounds very interesting.
yeah,
Anything else to add about Chile?
I don't know. I know it's a long flight to get there. Took a while, especially if you're flying out from the US. Like your flight options are from Atlanta to there or from Dallas to there, and it's long. It's like 9 hours. But worth I know the flight's long, but I think it was worth it. I really enjoyed my time and I actually kind of want to go back. So Patagonia is an area, so it also covers part of Argentina. So Bariloche in Argentina, like southern part of Argentina, is in Patagonia as well, and people speak very highly of that. So I'm have that on my list next for Bariloche in Argentina. But
Yeah, I was disappointed you didn't go to Easter Island. I know you're like, well, there's really not much to do there and
the
stuff like that.
problem,
But
okay,
I know.
the problem with traveling in Chile, if especially because Valpo was my home base, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours back to Santiago to get to the airport on time,
Right.
and then to fly, 3 to 4 hours somewhere else. And to get to Easter Island, it's a 5 hour flight from Santiago. And that's the only place you can get to Easter Island is from Santiago. So if that's
Right.
on your list of things to see in your lifetime, you have to fly into Santiago no matter what.
Sure. Huh.
Because it's part of Chile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yep.
But yeah. Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. That was What to See with Sarah G in Chile. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to tackle some of the horrible dating and sex stories from the internet. So Sarah was getting sick of me suggesting that we do yet another episode about toxic masculinity or male privilege or anything. She's like, we just did one of those. Do we need to do it again? And she's like, this podcast doesn't need to be a parallel of your TikTok all the time. So
I do say that, yes.
So we're like, well, what should we talk about? And I was like, I really enjoy sometimes seeing clips actually weirdly on TikTok where people are kind of sharing some really terrible stories that people have shared and then talking about it a little bit. So I thought we would kind of go through some of the horrors of the internet that people have had, experiences people had in dating and sex and relationships, etc. And just kind of maybe if you're in a relationship, you'll hear this and be like, wow, at least I'm not that guy, or at least I'm not that couple.
I'm not dumb enough to do those things because I listen to DKS podcast.
That's right. Exactly. So we're going to start. We've got a couple of these to read and talk about, and we're going to start. And you can let us know which ones are your favorites, or if you enjoy this segment as well.
I think this one is already my favorite, and you haven't even started it yet. But this is one Roy shared with me randomly when we were out, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck am I reading right now?" Someone posted this on the internet, so that's how these stories go.
Yeah, this is a good one, and in some ways I can empathize. So let's go ahead and start this. This is am I the asshole because I brought a bottle of ranch into a restaurant? Last night I went to dinner with Michael. It was our third date, and he took me to one of his favorite restaurants. It was a hole-in-the-wall Polish-Hungarian place. We ordered our food, and he ordered a sampler plate so I could just try different things. There are very few things that I don't eat with ranch. I just like it, and it helps make some things easier to eat, so I always have it with my meals. When we got our food, I asked for some ranch. The waiter said they didn't have any and offered to bring out some kind of sour cream and dill sauces. I tried them, and they just weren't the same. I told Michael I'd be right back, took my wallet, and left the restaurant. I had seen a convenience store close by when arriving, so I went, bought a bottle of ranch, and came back. Michael looked shocked but didn't say anything and ate his food. The food was great, and we got some conversation going when the waiter came by and said outside food wasn't allowed. I said dressing is an outside food and they didn't have what I needed to enjoy my meal. I didn't want to ruin the evening, so I took it out to my car and returned. When we finished and left, Michael thanked me for coming out with him, but said it was really off-putting that I had to leave and go buy a bottle of dressing instead of just going one meal without it. I told him I wouldn't have to do that if they had any ranch or any dressings like a normal restaurant. He didn't walk me to my car or anything and just left. I went home and told my roommate about my date and his attitude, and she asked me if I was being serious. She thinks I had bad etiquette and embarrassed Michael to the point he was probably going to stop talking to me. I don't think what I did was really all that bad. It was a condiment, not an entire meal from someplace. Was I wrong for what I did?
Yes. 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 Okay. I'm going to flip this question before I get into how I feel about this whole situation. Would you ever do this with mayonnaise?
No.
Would you ever leave a date to get mayonnaise to then eat said meal with mayonnaise?
No. And I like condiments. I like ranch too. I like dressings. I like sauces. I would ask for whatever sauces they had and I would use those. And if I didn't like it, I just wouldn't eat. I would just, be like, okay, I'm fine. And I just wouldn't eat if it was really like to that point. But no, this is a weird obsession. Like yes, I put mayonnaise on things, but I don't need to have mayonnaise at every meal.
To eat any food. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what? Like a dill sauce. I've had a dill sauce at like a Polish place. It's basically fucking ranch. Like it's really not that different. It's just like a, slightly, maybe not quite as like maybe rich as ranch.
What hurts me the most is he took her to one of his favorite places, hoping to share, like when you're like, I want this person who I'm
Right.
kind of developing feelings for to be excited to go to one of my favorite places and enjoy this experience with me. And she just fucking ruined it for him, It's like, well, fuck.
I mean, next time he goes back there, he's gonna have to apologize to everybody. Like, I can't believe she brought a bottle of ranch into the restaurant. And also, like, how obvious must it have been that the waiter had to come by? Like, did she just have the bottle sitting on the table and she just like
Probably.
every time she like ate something? It blows my mind. Like that's a weird thing.
I also think, I mean, I'm no psychologist or anything, but I have a family member who has food issues. Like she, for the longest time, only ever ate lima beans and chicken nuggets and could only eat certain foods and never could expand outside of that palate. And I feel like the ranch dressing is a crutch for something similar to that. I don't to have it with every single meal. You can't even go one meal without it. Just it's a lot for me to handle.
Right. And honestly, like Polish Hungarian stuff isn't this. It's not like going to be overly spicy. It's going to be really easy to eat some of it, and just take a few bites. If you really have some weird obsession and something like that, just be polite about it. Have the etiquette just to take a couple bites. Say, oh, this is good, and then like say, but I really like ranch. I really need it, and it's okay. Like I'm not gonna, but like just so that's a thing that's a weird thing about me or whatever. Like if I went to a place that was all bone in food because I don't like food with bones in it, and that's all they served, and they had no other options. I would probably take my fork and knife and try to pull some of the meat off, eat like a little bit and be like, okay, I'm done for now. Like I got the idea. I'm sorry. I can't participate because it's not really a thing that I'm into, but I wouldn't be like, let me go order something from somewhere else just to get delivered here.
And
So
bring
I
it
can eat
back.
and bring it back. Yeah, no, she's insane. She's totally the asshole in that situation.
What also gets me is saying normal restaurant, like any normal restaurant, kind of shading like the culture of it being like a Polish and Hungarian restaurant versus a standard American restaurant. When you read that, it just never sat well with me.
No, I feel like before this restaurant, the fanciest place she'd ever been was like an Applebee's. Like she goes to McDonald's and maybe Wendy's and then like, maybe Chili's and Applebee's and that's it. Cause everything else is too exotic for her and they might not have ranch. And then,
Well, my other thing is if for example, if you're vegan, if you have a sensory thing with ranch and you have to have it with every meal, you should do your due diligence before you eat at certain restaurants to see what they're going to have that you might eat. And I think she missed the mark on that one and should have taken a look at the restaurant beforehand, the menu, and said, okay, can I eat here? Can I not? And at least mentally prepare herself for the meal versus being disappointed that they didn't have ranch.
I think mental preparation might be not her strong suit.
Well, I'm trying to.
Anyone who like just decides to get up and walk to a convenience store like that,
They're leaving.
That's the, like we all have crazy thoughts. We all have things sometimes we're just like, oh God, I don't know what to do or whatever. But like when you take that step, then like that's too much.
Is she going to do that at a sushi restaurant? Like, think of all the other scenarios where places wouldn't have ranch. Would she just not eat there, or would she go and get out and grab ranch for insert any other type of meal here?
And if it is such an obsession with her, why doesn't she just bring a bottle in her purse all the time? I mean, I travel with mayonnaise, so why doesn't she just travel with ranch?
It's still, you're early on in dating someone. And that's the
not
other problem.
Anymore, she's not.
Well, that's true. But I'm saying your first 5 or 6 dates, you're on your best fucking behavior. You know what I mean? Even the first few months of dating someone, you're on your best behavior. And you pull that move instead of just politely, it's just, I don't know. I grew up at a young age knowing not to ever bring outside food into a restaurant, even as something as stupid as, I remember being in high school and I had a McDonald's iced coffee or whatever, and we walked into a Cracker Barrel and my dad scolded me for walking in with a McDonald's. He's like, they have coffee here, don't bring that in. I'm like, I'm almost done with it. He's like, it's rude, you can't bring that to the table. And I had to throw it away. And I don't know, that's always stuck with me of you just don't bring outside food unless it's like they don't care, the policy is, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Although I think that might have been a little extreme. Like, I don't think Cracker Barrel would have cared if you were finishing a coffee.
That's what my argument was, but it's Cracker Barrel, but still.
Well, at least we found somebody who's weirder about condiments than I am.
That is so true. Yeah. Actually, when I first read this, I was like, would Adam have a problem with mayonnaise? I don't know.
No. That makes me feel a little bit better about my life right there.
I hope everyone feels a little bit better. So let's address the next internet question.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, or saga. I went to a live figure drawing class, and now my partner isn't speaking to me. This is my second time attending a live drawing class, and I'm loving it and wish I started sooner. The first class was great, but tonight we had a male model and my partner lost it. He said he wouldn't stop me from going, but that he was disgusted that I spent 3 hours drawing some guy's penis. I'm not looking for advice. I just feel completely shell-shocked.
Yeah, she should be looking for advice because that sounds pretty toxic to me. And what it is once again, men not having the ability to empathize or put themselves in a woman's shoes. Men think it's like when men say, "Oh, I wish women would catcall me," because I would like that. It's that same type of thing. They're like, "Well, if I was there and there was a naked woman there, like, oh, I'd have a boner and be hard not to jerk off, and you want to sketch her naked body, because any nudity is porn to guys with that mentality." And that's what this is he sees this as being some type of porn, and because he is so emotionally unintelligent that he can't understand anything else.
Yeah, there's nothing sexual about that art class. It's not like she's actually in a, she's not sketching something from an actual porn. There's no penetration. It's just that person sitting there. Half of the population has a penis.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, what I mean? It's not anything sexual. He's not trying to come on to her in any way. It's just a body. And
not just that, but there's like very strict rules about all this stuff too when they do those types of art classes. And it's about
laughing. It's
figure. Yes.
Being respectful. And yeah.
And it makes me wonder, just like, I mean, really just how she didn't put the ages of this guy, but I mean, you know what? That probably doesn't matter. I was going to say he was younger, but he's probably not. He's probably like some dude in his 50s, and he's just like, that's, I wouldn't want that. It just because they don't have the ability to even have any intelligence about this whatsoever, any logic. Like when she was drawing women in the class before, did he think it was hot? Like he was like, oh, it's so hot that you're drawing boobs. Like is that what he thought? And it really makes me wonder.
But it also makes me wonder, okay, does her partner watch porn? Does she have a problem with her partner watching porn?
Yeah, that's true.
He's looking at vaginas and she probably doesn't have a problem with it because it's porn. It just screams like trying to be manipulative to a degree and then like screaming insecure as well.
Oh, so insecure. This is someone who's just dripping with insecurity. The fact that also you said he wouldn't stop her from going.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to give you that freedom. I'm not going to stop you, but I really don't like it. I'm not going to.
I'm disgusted, but I'm not going to stop you. Yeah. I found a piece of shit. Total piece of shit there. Maybe she should stick to drawing ranch to make her boyfriend happy.
She should draw bigger penises and show her
She
boyfriend, look
should.
how big this guy's
She should
dick was.
just do nothing but sketch dicks. She should just draw dick after dick after dick. Be like, oh, you want to see my new sketchbook? And then all it is just dicks.
Yeah.
That would be
Erect,
hilarious. Yeah,
flaccid,
yes, yeah, all
young,
types of
old,
yep, yep,
all the dicks.
all the
Yeah.
dicks, all the dicks. That
Yeah.
would be the advice to give.
Just start drawing dicks.
Just draw.
That's
just
your
make
specialty.
your new specialty is purely dicks. Oh yeah, this is crazy. So many people get into relationships sometimes, and you're just like, what?
What are you worried about? Like,
Well,
they're
what red
not.
flags has this guy shown before this? And there have to have been copious amounts of red flags that she has ignored. And then finally there's this one that, like, this is the one that, like, he finally made you realize, like, how many other things has he done, as far as how many times he guilt tripped you or tried to emotionally manipulate you into not doing something because he was insecure or jealous about it.
I think this was more noticeable because this is something she enjoys doing, which is sketching. And he's going to shit on something she enjoys doing. And she's like, this is something I do. It's not bad in any way. Why are you knocking me down several pegs because you feel insecure?
Yeah, they're very, very correct on that. I think that's a very good point. All right. Well, there we go. There's another couple you could be very happy you're not in that relationship.
Moving on to other terrible things.
We've got a couple more we're gonna get into. We got two more after this. Or no, two more including this next one.
Right.
I, 22 female, got drunk a few weeks ago and slept with another man. Boyfriend, 27 male, found out. We agreed to stay together under his terms. A few weeks ago, I got really drunk and ended up sleeping with another man. The next morning, I regretted it big time and immediately let my boyfriend know and apologized like crazy in every possible way. My boyfriend was totally upset and refused to talk to me for a few days. But when he came around, he said he'll stay with me as long as I never drink again, stay away from the bar, nightclub, or a party where there will be a lot of drinking. Also, I'm supposed to answer any message within an hour. I love my boyfriend, but the terms he has set are incredibly strict. It is so hard to watch my friends going out and having fun. My boyfriend, on the other hand, doesn't drink at all. I tried to ask him if we can talk about it. His reply was no. I don't know what to do anymore. It is getting so hard. I really love my boyfriend, but yet it is so hard to watch my friends go out and having fun and hearing about it, knowing I have no part in it. Does anyone have any suggestion on a compromise that may work or anything like that?
No compromise, just break up with them.
Break up with him. Yeah, that's the only compromise. Here's the thing. Cheating is shitty and it can happen. And she apologized the next day. If you're going to forgive someone, you have to forgive them.
Not with terms.
Right. You can't forgive them and then make them feel like shit about it forever, because that's you being shitty. You have to, if you're going to forgive them, there has to be forgiveness, which means that you are starting over as a clean slate. Now, you could ask that, she tried to refrain from drinking too much if she feels like she's in a place where it might not be good. That'd be a healthy thing to ask, I think, a healthy boundary. But saying that she's not allowed to drink anymore, especially because he doesn't drink, and saying that she has to reply to messages within an hour, is now just him basically saying, well, now I have a slave that can do whatever I want because I can always use this to make her feel guilty.
Ultimatums are never healthy.
No, they're not.
It's never going to end well. And she already said, I'm feeling like I'm missing out. I'm watching my friends having fun and I can't have fun. A relationship should complement your life. You should not feel like you're caged in with your partner. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And it's funny. I had a friend whose boyfriend cheated on her and she agreed to forgive him. And she just said that she just wanted him to be more open and communicate better. Because he was really bad about replying. She's like, I just would like you to be better about it. And be open. And he was like, you know what? And I promise that I will tell you wherever I'm going, whenever I'm going, etc. And he just was very, and she's like, okay, I appreciate that. But then every time she would say, oh, where are you going? He would get shitty about it. Oh, well, what? And now I can't even, so it's the other side of it where basically she was willing to forgive him. And all she wanted was some more communication. And he was still being shitty. It turned out he was cheating on her the entire time. Even with that, it was all projection too.
Which sucks, but also not shocked.
Not shocked. Yeah. And it makes me wonder, this boyfriend too, once again, what other red flags have there been in this relationship that you're only now just recognizing that this is the one? Because now you can't go out with your friends. Like what other issues is this guy at? Because
There's been
obviously,
other things, yeah.
right. Because obviously she fucked up by cheating. That's she's the asshole for cheating in that sense. But he's the much bigger asshole for trying to now turn it around so that he can essentially manipulate her and keep her and control her and make her stay at home all the time.
Well, it's like he also had the choice to end the relationship right then and there too. But instead, he went the complete opposite of, well, if I can't have it just how it was, I have to rein her in any way I can. And that's never going to work either. It's like, if you can't forgive, just let it go.
Exactly. So forgiveness needs to be forgiveness. And if you put ultimatums with it, you put conditions with it, you should probably assess whether or not you actually want to be with that person.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong calling it quits. I think, even though she did cheat, she told him immediately.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Then it also makes me think there clearly had to be something before then, because what made her cheat?
Right.
There's clearly something else going on where she got to a point where she felt comfortable cheating.
Sometimes, yes, people cheat because they're just shitty people. And sometimes they cheat because there's already an unhappiness in the relationship. And, who knows what. And I'll also say this too, and this is, I don't even know the story, but with as much that I've seen about men not seeming to understand consent and coercion and things like that too, she didn't say anything about who the person was. How did she meet him? Was it something where she was drunk and someone was like, hey, let's go back to my place? And then who knows what happened? And so it also could be the reason she felt so guilty in the morning was because it wasn't entirely something that she consented to. It could, and that also could be part of it. And instead of having sympathy about it and thinking about it and, talking about that, I think that, the boyfriend instead turns into, here's how I can control her more. So that's, that's another shitty relationship. I think people should break up more. I think I really
Agreed.
Think that, I think more people should be breaking up with their partners when they're in shitty situations instead of putting up with it for way too long.
The problem is people equate years in the relationship as some kind of value when that person is still exhibiting shitty behavior.
Yeah.
But I'd been with him for 5 years. That doesn't fucking matter. Things change.
Have you seen the drama with Steven Crowder?
No, I haven't.
Do you know who he is?
No, I have no idea.
Have you seen that meme of the guy sitting there in front of the table that says blah blah blah, change my mind?
Yes, I have seen that.
That's him. So he's this obnoxious asshole, very right wing, talking about the foundations of good relationships and stuff like that, and and then America's going down the tubes and all this stuff, and he always gets he's just very very shitty human being, very shitty, obnoxious, misogynistic, etc. Racist, transphobic, everything. And he recently just found out that his wife just filed for divorce. And one of the things he's so pissed about is that there's no fault of Forrest, and his wife can just file for divorce. Like, he's pissed that she actually has
that she can just file freely and not be stuck to a man because she needs financial coverage or a credit. Oh my fuck.
Yeah. So he's also made millions, and they only have one car because that way he can control where they go. Like, he's very controlling. And then this clip came out from a Ring camera. I think she released it, of they're sitting on their porch, and she is like 8 months pregnant or something. And he is yelling at her because she needed to go walk the dog and go to the store and do all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And she asked him something, and he was just yelling at her, this is unacceptable. And basically like, oh, it is so toxic listening to him. And you're listening, you're like, wow, this woman has put up with this for how long? And she finally had enough. And it's good that she's finally getting free of him, but his abuse is so blatant. And it's just like, you watch this sometimes, you're just like, how did she get to the point? And I know, and I'm not victim blaming. I know that when you're in an abusive situation, sometimes you can't get out of it. Sometimes you're not even aware of it for a while, but it's just like, I wonder how many red flags there were in the beginning that she was like, oh, but maybe that's not really a red flag. And I think it's so important that people recognize red flags and be like, okay, when I see that red flag, I don't collect them. I'm not trying to make a coat out of them, or a hat, or a badge or anything like that. I'm stopping. Like red means stop. And as soon as I see that red flag, I'm done with somebody. And I feel like that would help so many people.
It's not even just like thinking, is it a red flag? Because maybe you're not paying attention of, oh, that is a red flag. It's going, I don't really like what they just said there. We're done here.
Right.
You might not have thought it through of like, oh, that was a red flag until after the fact, but just noticing in the moment, yeah, that was shitty. Something about that just doesn't sit well. We're done, and just cutting ties.
I do know sometimes a lot of narcissistic people will actually hide who they are until you're trapped and then it's too late. And obviously that situation is different. But he is a vocal person who's been speaking for years about all of his beliefs. And I think it's like these sometimes people who like, oh well, he's not talking about me. Like, I'm married to him or I'm dating him. Obviously, he's just talking about all the other women that he thinks shouldn't have control over their own bodies and want to do things, But like, he's not.
He treats me with respect, so right. I'm fine.
And then when it finally switch flipped, I'm glad she was like, "Fuck it, I'm done." It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Now,
another one we're happy we're not in that situation. Okay.
I know. Another one where they should break up. And this last one is just as exciting.
Let's go. Okay. Am I the asshole for not liking how my girlfriend dresses for work? So I, 43 male, don't think I'm in the wrong here, but my mother is very angry at me, and my best friend said I was a horrible person for saying what I did, and I'd be lucky if my girlfriend didn't put me out with the garbage since I decided I wanted to act like trash. My girlfriend, 34 female, is a preschool teacher, and for some reason I can't explain, she dresses like Miss Frizzle. Like a dress with the pattern of whatever they are studying. She makes a lot of them herself, now including matching masks. The kids love it, and the parents seem to think it's great. I don't like the amount of attention she gets, honestly. I'd prefer if she came home and changed before running any errands. On Friday, she helped my mom with something after work, and she was still in her weird dress. I have told her before I don't like when she dresses that way, but she tells me I don't have to like it, but I have no right to tell her how to dress. I was upset she went out like that with my mother and told her that my mom said she was embarrassed and asked that she please not dress like that again if they're going out. I was not expecting her to call my mom and apologize. When my mom asked what she meant, she told her what I said. My mom was furious, explained she didn't have a problem with how my girlfriend dresses and thinks it's just and thinks it's great she spends extra time doing things to engage her students. My mom then yelled at me for lying to my girlfriend and trying to throw her under the bus because I was being an absolute jerk. My girlfriend and I got into a huge fight. I said she should be embarrassed to be seen in public like that. She said the only thing she was embarrassed by was me. She hasn't spoken to me or done anything for me since. My friend said I was horrible and called me trash. I shouldn't have lied, but I think my girlfriend should take what I think about her clothes into consideration, and I'm not sorry for expecting her to dress more appropriately in public. Am I really such an asshole here?
Yes.
Don't shit on Miss Frizzle. That disrespect. Miss Frizzle's cool.
What's so funny too is that if you listen to the title, am I the asshole for not liking how my girlfriend dresses for work? Your immediate thought is that she dresses in some type of like she exposes skin, or she's dressed in like a provocative way, like she works at a bikini car wash or like a strip club or something, except he doesn't like that she's dressed like Mrs. Frizzle, and he still hates the attention she gets. Like, he didn't say, by the way, that he'd prefer if she came home and changed before they went out for the night, but before she went out running errands. He is so insecure that he doesn't even want her getting attention from anyone
outside of school.
And and I love that everyone called him trash. His best friend, his mom was just like, you're garbage. There was a subtext to this one that I saw he had an edit that said that I guess everybody should be happy because she broke up with me. And so like that was so good. I mean, I just can't imagine like someone who puts all that effort into that. Like I know people like that. I mean, who dress in a cool, you dress in a cool way. Like you dress in a way that like,
I do. That's the first time you've ever said that to me in my life.
You do eye-catching things. You choose things that are fashion forward, I will call them, maybe. And people compliment you for that stuff. But I can't imagine her being like embarrassed to go out, to be in scene with you because it's colorful and bright, which is basically what he's saying.
She hand makes these outfits and loves it. And you know what I mean? It's part of her identity. She enjoys doing that, not only for her job, but I don't know. it makes me sad that someone would try to dim her light.
Yeah, no,
Because
she sounds awesome. Like she
Yeah.
sounds so cool, and he sounds like an absolute piece of dog shit.
It reads, I'm insecure.
Oh, 100%.
I can't control her. She's not doing what I want. I'm insecure.
And it's just so funny to me that like she's embarrassed. You know, here's the other thing too, you get really telling of the relationship. She hasn't spoken to me or done anything for me since.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
What
Is
is
she
so
supposed
like
to wait on you?
basically? I think that's the
a
relationship
sandwich?
they had. I think the relationship they had was essentially her waiting on him all the time, and you know, him being a spoiled rotten little fuck. I love that he tried to throw his mom, like, you know, say that his mom was mad, and then so she being, and once again shows how sweet and kind she is, that she calls to apologize, which
to make things right, even though nothing was wrong.
Even though and then so that's fantastic. Like, she acted great, and he is a complete piece of shit.
The other thing that pisses me off, and this was not said in the story at all, but I know people shit on teachers and like there's certain fields where women, you know, like teaching or nursing, where they're like, oh, well, she's just a nurse. Oh, she's just a teacher. And they shit on that. And then they put them down because of their profession. And I feel like this is a similar vibe of, oh, well, she just dresses like that. Like her career is not that serious. Yeah. Basically, she's just got this fun little job and she's not a professional, and that shit pisses me off. I don't care what you do. She loves what she does. Let her fucking live.
This guy's probably a finance bro who like dresses in a, you know, like
absolutely,
you know, buys certain suits and will not buy certain things, and is just very douchey about the whole thing. That would be.
He doesn't like women. Well, and a lot of these go back to, does he even like women?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She does things for me and I can't control her. And
well, here's the other thing too, is I guarantee that when he met her, she was like this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he probably liked her. Like, he, you know, like men do that so many times. They find somebody and they're like, oh, they like certain things about it. And then when they get them in a relationship just to crush that out of them. Like, and it's such it's a perfect example of them not actually liking women. Like, they just, wouldn't you want to celebrate what the things that attracted you in the first place? But no, men are like, I must destroy that. And it's fucking terrible.
He would say the same thing if she was showing too much skin. This would be the same thing.
If she was a stripper instead of a teacher, this would be the exact same story, one way or the other. Yeah. So yeah, that's I know. Once again,
I hope she finds somebody better. She lives her best life, keeps wearing her Miss Frizzle outfits. I want to see an outfit that just,
I know. Like, I want to know so much more about her. Like, she sounds cool.
Right. Yep.
And he, I hope he dies alone.
Same. Yeah. Take yourself out with the trash.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, I think that's all the stories that we have.
Yeah, those are 4 stories we're going to share 4 stories of interesting, terrifying things that make you, you know, maybe appreciate who you have, but also maybe appreciate the need to really recognize those red flags early before they drag you down.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you have a wild story you want to share, stop the car, pick up the phone, and call our hotline now at 407-519-0181, or Adam will be mad at you.
That's right. You don't want me mad at you. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube, you can, youtube.com/dating kind of sucks. We've got all the episodes go up there, but also I post a lot of shorts up there that get some negative attention from the trolls that are YouTube commenters.
But they're just still views, so you don't care.
Exactly. They're still views, so happy with them. I encourage them. And of course, we have our Instagram that we don't use as much as we should, at Dating Kinda Sucks.
That is very true. Well, you're active on TikTok, so you can follow Adam on TikTok at Adam Heath or myself for other travel content at Simply Sarah G. And then if you don't feel like calling the hotline because you're just shy about having your voice on air, you can always email us at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com. Anything as well, and we'll read those on air if you want.
And post in the group too. The Facebook group is great. Facebook.com/group/DKS podcast. And once again, we do have this meetup that we're going to be doing at the Graduate Seattle and Thursday, June 29th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we'll have more details as it gets closer. So if you are interested in this and it's something you want to be, then let us know. We'll put your name on a list and we'll keep you up to date as the details come clear, and let you know if there are going to be rates for hotels, for the hotel there, if they're going to have a discounted rate to stay over, and any other things that we might do. Because 8 p.m. is kind of early. So after we're done with that, who knows if there's an after party somewhere? We might have to figure something out.
It's always a strip club. It's always a strip club.
I mean, that was the Orlando way, but I don't know if that's the Washington way. So we'll have to see.
I don't know strip clubs around here. Anyways.
Yes. But and then of course coming up right after we finish talking here is going to be my friend Josaleigh Pollett's song "The Nothing Answered Back." I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with a brand new episode.
Well, before you go, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. We need more reviews and to follow us on Spotify and rate us on there. And then after this is what I thought you were going to say. Oh. After this, we're going to be recording a special Patreon episode. Oh, yes. If you like exclusive episodes and you want more of our content, that's for as little as $5 a month, you can join and be a patron at patreon.com/DKS podcast. And now for the moment Adam's been waiting for.
I've been excited about it, but also, the funny thing is we have these list of links. We have them in one order, but we never read them in the actual order. No. It always goes back and forth and bounce, and I completely blanked on that. But yes, now the podcast premiere of The Nothing Answered Back, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Until next time.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we get no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers they pluck. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.